Okay. Sorry about that. We got disconnected there. Oh yeah, where were we? We talked about the ZIM bond. I want to talk about the agro checks. This is an agro check. They look like these. This is a 25 billion. There's larger denominations. These bills are defunct currency again. They were used for agricultural purposes, but they're being accepted by the power at be, the white hats, the Chinese elders, as an instrument of redemption. Rumor on the street is 330,000 per billion with a B, not with an M. So for every billion, you get 330,000. Now, why? You're probably going to ask yourself, well, if it's the face value is 100 trillion, why are they only giving us 11 to 50 million per 100 T? The bearer bond, the full face value belongs to he who holds the bond. But the powers elites are not going to give you $100 trillion. They will give you a finder's fee of 11 to 50 million for your own personal use. However, if you have a humanitarian project, you can tap into the remainder of the face value of that. If you don't, you're leaving money on the table. Now, if you don't feel like you're capable of running a humanitarian project, or you don't have in your heart a certain mega project, because remember, this is a multi-generational project that you can mold and develop. But if you don't feel that you have the capacity, or you don't want to hire, in my case, I have visions. I'm a visionary of what I want to do with my money. I don't have the skill set, but that's why you always hire smarter people than you to do the work. Okay? If you don't feel comfortable either way, they'll give you a list of humanitarian projects that you can choose from, because the rest of that money is going to be spent on humanitarian projects. So that's up to when you go into the center, they'll ask you, do you have a project in mind? Just write up a 1 or 2 page general idea with what you want to do with the remainder amount, because that question is never answered. Well, if I have $100 trillion bill and you're only giving me 11 to 50 billion, what about the rest of it? Exactly. Of that 11 to 50, that's for your personal use. That's where you are your family redeemer. You shore up your finances, you shore up your family finances, and you shore up your community finances. That's for you to spend. The rest of that you're in possession of as a bond holder is for humanitarian purposes. So again, the majority, the 0.9999999% of that is for humanitarians. The 0.00000 whatever micro amount, the 11 to 50 million per 100 T, is for your own personal use. So that part of it is never answered. It's always insinuated, it's always thrown out there, but I'm verbalizing it because that's the reality of it. Okay? Why the bond? The ZIM bond. Zimbabwe is, I always think of it as biblical. It comes straight out of the parable of Jesus. For the last shall become the first, and the first shall become the last. We're going to see a global change where the United States, the corrupt corporation that has kept us in slavery for the last 120 years, as corporate slaves, or chattel as they like to call us, rhymes with cattle, because we're beasts of burden used for labor, for our milk, and at the end of the day to be slaughtered for hot dogs and steaks. That's how they see us. But they don't even see us as cattle. They see us as cockroaches. That's what the elites think about us. Pest and nuisance to be fumigated, to be controlled, to be monetized, militarized, radicalized. But God forbid you ever find out what your worth is. And again, I reiterate from the last video, if you're here, it's because God chose you as a humanitarian. What I like to always explain about the ZIM note, I always like to use the comparison of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Forgive me, I know that sounds infantile, but think about it. A lot of Hollywood is not about fantasy and science fiction. In the celestial world, whenever an evil entity has plans to hurt you, there's certain rules in heaven and on earth. You can't be touched. You can't be destroyed directly because you're a child of God. You're a spiritual blue blood of royalty. However, they are allowed to trick you into hurting yourself, committing suicide, falling down the trap, falling into certain contracts where you give away your God-given rights. Okay, so a lot of Hollywood, that's one of the rules they do. Before they do something to you, they'll tell it to you in your face, but they don't have to be clear about it. Nothing in the rule says that you have to be cogent enough to understand what they're saying. They did their part. They told you in your face. The Matrix, that's not science fiction. That's a documentary. The daily news, that's science fiction. Okay, the wars, rumors of wars, that's science fiction. But what they put in Hollywood is their way of disclosure. It's kind of like when you get an LLC or a death certificate or a business certificate. They have to announce it in the newspaper. That's the rules on earth and in heaven. So going back to that, the movie of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. What was the story? Willy Wonka wants to retire, but he doesn't want just anybody taking over his baby, his creation. So he invents a contest where in certain Willy Wonka chocolate bars there are golden tickets. Now the prize isn't the ticket. The price is taking over the factory, but he never discloses that. Getting the ticket and going through the tour is the test. The RV has only been disclosed to certain mindsets and certain golden hearts. Of the people that follow the RV, we're but a micro percentage. I know I like to use the word micro. A small percentage of humanity. Yet, the few of us that have been called to know about this have been called to get certain currencies. That's not by accident. You've been chosen. Now you got the ticket. The ZIM bonds are the golden Willy Wonka tickets. If you have one, you have a Willy Wonka ticket. However, this whole dragged out process of roller coasters and disinformation and hopium and then letdowns, frustrations, that's the tour. They want to see who ends up at the end of the tour. Are you going to be the greedy one that wants to take a dip in the chocolate lake and you get sucked under? Are you the arrogant one that has a chip on your shoulder and you end up trying to get the golden egg and you get sucked out of the factory? Or are you the humble person at the end of the day that all he wanted to do was help out his family? Okay. Now, why do I say ZIM bonds are Willy Wonka tickets? Because if you hold it, it doesn't have any value. How much is a golden gold foil ticket to produce? It's paper and gold foil, pennies. However, it's worth a whole factory, the whole Willy Wonka factory, right? ZIM bonds are defunct bills, but the golden dragons are using it as a gateway to get into the door to receive the humanitarian funds that were stolen from us and recaptured and brought back to us. So if you have the bond, congratulations. You were chosen by heaven and you had enough of a fortitude to hold on to it. And if you ride out this storm, this back and forth, this hopium, this letdowns, the dreams that you have of what you're going to do with this, and yet you're poor as a church mouse and you're losing your homes and you're living in your car, keep the faith. This is the Willy Wonka tour. And at the end of the day, you're going to be rewarded richly because you've proven to your Heavenly Father that to who is entrusted with little will be trusted with much. So that's my 2 cents on the ZIM bond. If you have any questions, again, comment down in the comment section. I'll try to help you as best as I can. Please copy and paste, send it to as many people as you can. that can invest in this. Remember, this is like a lotto ticket that if the numbers don't show up, you can sell it back to the 7-Eleven. Or if you need to pay your rent, you can sell it back. And chances are you might even make a small profit on it. Because when I bought my ZIM notes, what was it, 8 years ago, they were worth $30. Now they're selling them for almost $200 each. So I'm already ahead. But that's not the point. Spread the word. Get as many people that you think that have a humanitarian heart, that you think this money won't destroy them, and reach out to them. Give them these videos. Spread the word. And if anybody has questions, send them this video. I would appreciate it. It's not about me. I'm just here because I know there's people out there that's frustrated. So thank you for your time. God bless you, and I'll see you on the next one.